So, welcome everybody to this DNA of Business Lunch and Learn session, where today we're going to be hearing from Carmen and Dave of Red Platypus Creative about blogging. A quick bit of housekeeping. If you're not familiar with Zoom, down the bottom left-hand corner of your Zoom page, you should be able to adjust your microphone and video, but please keep your microphones off until Dave and Carmen have finished, and then we'll have some questions and Q&A. When people signed up to come on to this webinar, I asked the question, are you blogging already for your business? Yes, no, yes occasionally, or yes regularly. And the results were 56% of people, so more than half said no, not blogging at all. 38% said occasionally, and only one person said regularly, apart from Dave and Carmen, that is. So it's going to be interesting, and hopefully you get quite a lot out of this. So I'm going to introduce Carmen and Dave now. They've given me a little spiel here, so forgive me for reading. Carmen and Dave have been running their content marketing business since 2013. Assisting businesses with communications. Former journalists, the pair have worked for a combined 3 decades in the media industry for organisations including the ABC, BBC World News, Al Jazeera, News Corp and Fairfax Media. I don't think it gets any better than that, does it? With their agency Red Platypus, Carmen and Dave assist clients with website content, media releases, PR, magazine articles, awards entries, speech and script writing, and more. Blogging experts, the pair have run successful travel blog Double Barreled Travel since 2012 and love helping clients with their own business blogs. This year, the pair developed an online blogging course, Become Business Blogging Beast, to help business owners learn more about blogging for their business. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Dave and Carmen. So Carmen, you can speak to us.
How are you going? Thank you everyone for joining the call today. Really appreciate it. I will just share my screen with you. Can everyone see that?
Thumbs up if you can.
Great. So today I will be talking about how you can blog to retain and gain clients. And we've got quite a bit to go through and not all that much time, so I'll try and get through it as quickly as possible. Great. So what we'll be covering today is why essentially you should be blogging if you're not already, the benefits of blogging and what your business will be getting from it, how you can generate good ideas for your blog, because a lot of the time we get questions from clients saying, you know, we really want to start a blog, but we've got no idea where to start. So we'll discuss how you can generate good ideas, how to determine what your audience wants to read with your blog, what format you should use when writing a blog, and how to deliver your blog to your audience. So first things first, why should you be blogging at all? Now, put simply, there's so many reasons you should be blogging. It's hard to possibly cover all the benefits in this talk alone, but I will just quickly touch on some of the main reasons about why you should be blogging if you're not already. Firstly, the obvious one would be that it does lead to increased profits and it can increase your sales if you blog regularly, but that's not the only benefit. Lots of people think that's the main one, and it's certainly definitely a massive positive, but there are many more reasons why you should be blogging. First of all, it's just great for your business in terms of brand identity and getting your thoughts down onto paper or into the computer. It allows you to harness your own skills and talents, and as with anything, the more you blog, the better you get at blogging and the better you can connect with your audience. And it's this regular connection with your audience that allows them to begin to see you as a thought leader in your field and an expert. I mean, if you think about one of our clients, a carpet cleaner who blogs regularly, they share before and after pictures of cleans that they do. They offer advice about how you can get stains off your carpet at home. They share testimonials in their blogs about what clients have said about recent jobs they've done. And when I think about that client and compare them to other carpet cleaners, maybe in a similar area, if you were searching online for a carpet cleaner and you came across their website with these regular blogs, proving that they are experts at carpet cleaning, basically from what they are writing about, compared to a carpet cleaner who perhaps just has a standalone homepage with their details on it, as a customer, what website would be more attractive to you, and what carpet cleaner are you more likely to go with? Most people would say the one with the blog, because they are proving themselves as an expert in their field. Whereas the other one, all you have is their details and you know nothing else about them. So that is the main benefit of blogging, is that it allows you to continuously connect with customers, whether they're already your customers, existing customers, or whether they will soon be your customers. It's this connection that blogging brings that can really benefit your business. And of course, in terms of SEO, Google loves content that is fresh on your website. So if you are constantly updating your website with content, either weekly or even monthly, Google is more likely to rank your website higher than other stagnant websites that haven't been updated in months. So blogging is a great way to get fresh content up on your site on a regular basis and improve your SEO and your Google ranking. So those are like some of the main benefits that blogging does bring. And of course, another one is that many of your competitors may already be blogging themselves. So it's time to get on that bandwagon and create your own content that stands out and puts you ahead of your competitors. So those are some of the main reasons why you should be blogging. Sorry, I've gone the wrong way. So as I mentioned before, a lot of our clients come to us and say, oh, I really want to blog, but I have no idea where to start. What ideas? And I don't know if any of you struggle with this, but you think, oh, okay, I have an accounting business. There's only so many topics I can write about. I've just come up with a list which I can share with everybody. Here are just some takeaways, some ideas that can help you brainstorm and start thinking about the kinds of content that you could be putting on your own website today. And the truth is, no matter what your industry or what your company does, whether it's selling a product or a service, there is content for you to write. So going back to the carpet cleaning business, why not share a success story that happened to you recently where your customer was really happy with your product? You could share something like that. Don't be afraid to take topical stories that are already in the news and write about them yourself. For example, last year there was a lot of press about beauticians who I think it was a Daily Mail article about beauticians who weren't putting eyelashes in properly and they were damaging some women's eyes because of the process. If you were a beautician, you could take hold of that story and say, these are the products we use in our salon, they're high quality, this would never happen here, and this is why you should come to us, and take something that's in the news and put your own spin on it to prove that your product is worthwhile. So, you know, you're probably already reading the news and checking out stories that are related to your industry. So why not capitalize on these stories and put your own spin on it and market it into a blog? You can, you could also attend a conference. I mean, probably most of you have gone to a conference, whether this year or last year or before this whole COVID thing broke out, or even online conferences. And you might want to share some of your learnings in a blog. Especially for other people in the industry who weren't able to make it. If you do any charity work for your business, this is a great thing to blog about. People love to know that you're human and that you're doing something for the greater good. And this is brilliant marketing for your business and gives you a chance to really connect with your customers and people within your industry. Another thing is, don't be scared to talk about your failures as well as your successes. The more you talk about where you failed and what you learned from it, not only are you teaching customers and other people in your industry how to improve on what they do, but you're showing that you are human and you make mistakes, and people really build a good rapport with companies that are honest about where they went wrong and how they improved and how they learnt from it. People really connect with those kinds of stories. So, for example, a few years ago, we lost a really big client of ours, and we wrote a blog about it. We said, this was the reason we lost the client. They had taken their communications in-house, but this is what we learned, that we shouldn't put all our eggs into one basket and rely on such a massive client, because now they're gone and we need to drum up some more business quickly, and all the takeaways that we learned from the experience. And we got some really good feedback about it. So don't be afraid to branch out and share where you went wrong. You can also, of course, include how-to guides, step-by-step. Give away advice for free. For example, if you're an accountant and with this whole new job seeker allowance that's come out because of COVID-19, maybe you could create a step-by-step guide on how you go about applying for it, what you need to know. If you really give a rundown and something tangible that customers can work with and take away and implement into their day-to-day lives or business, you're providing such great value and people will thank you for that. And that's what I think you really need to keep in mind with your blogging. What are you providing of value that your clients are able to take away and use for either self-improvement or to improve their business and put those actions into place? Make sure you're always providing something of value. So there are just some quick brain dump of some ideas that you could use for your blog. Now, the most important thing to think about when you are blogging is that you should always tell a story. You should always provide a beginning, a middle, and an end. It may only be 500 words long, but you need to have a proper structure within your blog. Make what you're saying real. So if you're providing tips, you could perhaps start by saying, the other day I realized X problem. This is how I solved it, and here are the steps. Give a proper structure to what you're saying. Tell a story. But of course, to tell that story, you first need to think about who you are telling the story to. Forget about what you are selling if you are wanting to sell something through your blog, because with blogging, you need to really try and avoid the hard sell anyway, because it will just scare off people. So think you're always in the forefront of your mind. You need to be thinking about who you're writing this for. And often we find that by determining an avatar or our perfect customer, I suppose, and picture ourselves writing to that one person as if we know them intimately, we know them really well, like they're a really good friend of ours or so on, taking that perfect customer and directing our comms directly to them, we produce blogs that are really effective, because it's like we're talking directly to a person. So forget about exactly what you're trying to sell, if you're trying to sell anything at all, and think about your audience. For example, if you were a business that sold playground equipment for parents to put in their gardens at home, you need to think less about the product itself and more about how this is going to benefit the parent. So don't even think about the children, because you are not selling to the child, you are selling to their mum and dad. So this will be a perfect opportunity for you in the current market, because parents are at home with their children and they're trying to get things done. So maybe you could blog about how the benefits of the playground equipment helping these parents to distract their children in times where they really need to do some work from home and they need something that's going to entertain their kids for an hour or more at a time. Focus on these benefits rather than the product itself or the service itself. So forget what you're selling and focus on who you're selling to. And I mean, there's so much you can talk about in terms of marketing for determining your avatar that I could go on for hours. But the main things to remember, what goals and values do your customers have? What objections may they have to the product or service that you're providing so that you can navigate around those? And mainly, what information sources do they go to get what they're searching for? And when I say this, I mean, what social media channels do they use online to get their information? Because you need to be targeting these channels with your blog to make sure you connect with the right customer. And most importantly, you need to continuously be thinking, what problem do they currently have and how are you going to solve that? Because every blog you write needs to be solving this problem in some way. So always think about that before you sit down at your desk and start to write, because with this focus, you can really get targeted communications out in the proper way that will really hit your audience on their pain points and give them a solution. Now, determining what your audience wants. Sometimes you might struggle to know exactly what their problems could be. So really don't be afraid to ask. And when I say don't be afraid to ask, you can do it in really simple ways, like send out a 5-minute survey, not even 5 minutes, 2-minute surveys where they have to click yes, no, I'm struggling with this, here's an extra sentence of feedback, so on. A very simple survey, or even you can ask them to comment on blog posts. And once you get your blog going and getting some traction, you'll begin to get comments. Tap into these comments and see if there's a common thread between your audience members and what they're looking for, because that could become a great new blog post topic. Look at where your biggest sales are in your company and blog around those sorts of topics. So if you're really selling a certain service in your business right now, I was speaking to someone yesterday who owns a pest control business, but one of their smaller sub-branches of the business is in hand sanitizers and gloves and protection wear. And that obviously, because of the current environment, is booming. So they're taking their focus away from the pest control and focusing more on the hand sanitizing cleaning aspect of the business and capitalizing on that, because that is what their audience is needing right now. So continuously analyze where your audience is at and what they're looking for so that you can blog on topics that are relevant to what they need. I'll now hand you over to Dave, and he's going to discuss more about the structure of your blog and the formatting of your blog.
Thank you, Carmen. Can everyone hear me okay? Okay, great. Well, I'm just going to run you through some very quick tips on how to write the blog. Writing is a very involved process that I've been working at myself for years and still don't know everything. It's constantly revealing things to me, but I've only got 10 minutes, so I'll be as quick as I can to give you some quick tips and tricks that can assist you in writing your blogs for your business. Now, where do you start? Most importantly, the headline for your blog is, I would say, the most crucial aspect of the entire thing. You can spend hours crafting a perfect, 500-600 word blog and then have a disappointing headline that doesn't capture people's attention. If people aren't clicking on your headline and then clicking through to the story, you've missed them. So it's very vital that you put a lot of work and effort into crafting your headline. I know that for blogs we do for Red Platypus and also for our clients, we often come up with 20 different headlines, sort of variations of one stem, just to pick out the strongest possible headline. So we want that click through. Now, the best kind of headlines are simple and they're direct. They pose a problem and also promise to solve this problem. They can be funny, they can be, have a bit of a pun to them, but mostly they're just simple and direct. Now, a really good example of this is Marie Forleo. She's up on she's one of the best business coaches in the world, and she has an article that's called "How to Make the Right Decision When Your Gut and Logic Don't Agree." It's a very simple headline. It lays out the entire structure of the blog just in one go, and it's interesting to everyone. It's very general, but it's solving quite a specific problem that we all have, in every day, in life and in business. When your gut when your brain and your heart don't agree, how do you make the right choice? It's something that is very appealing to people. So I would click through to that. Now, the next most important aspect of your blog is the first sentence. So the first sentence of Marie Forleo's blog is that I think we've all been in that situation when something looks great on paper, but we just can't shake that feeling that says something just doesn't feel right. It's very interesting. It captures your attention. It lays out the problem quite well. One of the best lessons that I ever got in writing is that with the first sentence, you're proving to the reader that they're in safe hands, that you know what you're doing, and there's a point to this. I think that illustrates it really well. And that blog itself has had 227 comments at last count, which is a really, really good level of engagement. It shows people are not only reading it, they're reading through to the end and then engaging with the content. So always keep in mind that the headline and the first sentence are your opportunity to win the audience's attention and then keep it. The rest of the blog is important, but those first two steps where you start are really, really important. And then how long should the blog post be? This is a bit of a vexed question because how long is a piece of string? There's a lot of debate online about the ideal length for a blog post, and a lot of people will say it's 500 words. But I think that's a pretty arbitrary number because take into consideration that your first sentence and perhaps your first paragraph, the important parts, that could be 150 words. Then your summary at the end and where you sign off and have your call to action to get people to engage with you, that could be 150 words as well. So in a 500 word blog post, you've only got 200 words left to lay out your arguments. That's really not enough. Sometimes a 500 word blog can be good if it's just a small topic that you want to discuss and get in and out quickly. But for Red Platypus, we always say 800 to 1,000 words is ideal. That gives you time to craft an interesting introduction, lay out all of your arguments, and then bring it all together. So most posts are under 3 minutes long, 94% 6 minutes long, and the average post is about 7 minutes time. So if a 7 minute read is about 1,600 words, if yours is 1,000, well, it's just going to be under that, even faster. So that's what we always try to aim for, 800 to 1,000 words. Just give yourself some time. Of course, different blog posts might need to be even longer than that. I'm sure many of you have read Wait But Why. It's an occasional blog. Every now and again, a blog will be dropped on this service, Wait But Why. It can be about anything from Tesla to rocket ships to why my generation of millennials like to whine so much. And there's sometimes 5,000 to 6,000 word blog pieces because people are interested in that content. So if you have a particular thing that you want to talk about, I would always say go for it. If it's quality and it has a good headline and you're in good hands from the top to the bottom, then I see no reason why your blog post can't be any length that you like. But in general, aim for 800 to 1,000 words. Now, the next important thing to consider, I think, is don't be afraid to have a voice. Be you. There are 1,000,001 bland blogs out there that are basically just keyword stuffing to get Google Analytic traffic for, pretty general topics. And they're written in very boring, business speak voice. Don't be that. All of us here in this, we're in business to do something to make a difference, and your passion and your interest needs to come across in the blog. Otherwise, you're just wasting people's time. Audiences respond to authenticity, and they respond to passion. An example I had recently was I worked with a client over in Queensland who was a building inspections officer. He would come to a house that you want to buy or that you want to sell, and he would tell you what's wrong with it. And he was really, really, really deeply interested in the very latest technology for building inspections. He had every laser beam you could possibly imagine. He had all the calculations calculated. And he was absolutely passionate about that because in his sector, most people turn up with a tape measure and a spirit level. And he just said, that's not enough. So we crafted a series of blogs for him where he extolled the virtues of all this technology and why it gave him such an edge and how he learned it. He went to specific, he went and worked as an apprentice. He's 50 years old and he apprenticed himself to another guy who had this technology. So we told those stories and got great engagement. And through him sharing his passion and sharing his voice, that was way more interesting than a blog just saying, you need to use this technology because it's good. It's kind of a no-brainer for us. We always encourage people to have a voice. Don't be defamatory, and don't say anything too risque, but definitely let us know what you think. Now, research and statistics are always really, really good to involve in your blogs. Now, research and statistics can be something that triggers an idea for a blog that you have. You might see something in your sector and go, oh, that's a blog. I can write my reaction to that and draw something out from that. At the same time, though, it's really good social and intellectual proof to have stats backing up the very things that you're saying. And if you can point to research, it also shows that you're engaged in your sector, that you're passionate about what you do, and that you're at the very cutting edge of things. So most people are looking for very good content that's also backed up by other things. So as important as it is to have your own voice, you also need to include the voices of others to give social proof to what you're saying. Now, photos tell 1,000 words, a picture tells 1,000 words, and a video would probably tell double that. If you can include photos or videos with your blog, I think you're definitely 4 or 5 steps ahead. A blog without a photograph is a bit naked. It's just a text block. You need an engaging photograph. What I was saying before about headlines are to draw you in. If anyone's seen the front page of Netflix, those are visual headlines. They're trying to get your eyeballs they're trying to suck your eyeballs in and click on the show to get you through. YouTube does the same thing. With photographs and videos, you're augmenting the power of your written headline for the blog. So a really good photo matched with a really, really good headline is going to pull people in. Whereas if you just had, I guess, a bland stock image or didn't even have a photograph at all, people are going to skip over that content. They're going to think, that doesn't look too professional. So always make sure to include a photograph or a video. There's been predictions of videos dominating the internet for years, and that's still very current. So always make sure if you can include a video, do so. We often use free stock images like from Pexels, Unsplash, and Pixabay. So it's a really good way just to keep people engaged. And who doesn't like a good photo? It breaks the content up quite nicely. And when you're in your drafting phase, if you have your blog ahead of you, you can actually write to the photographs. If you've picked out 3 strong images, you can actually tailor your writing to each photograph so it matches. Now, end your blog on a high. Like Carmen said before, all blogs need to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. They're essentially stories that you're telling to an audience. If your blog is just a brain dump of information, it's going to turn people off pretty quickly. But one of the best ways to make sure that you have a story is to, like I say, break it into the beginning, the middle, and the end. But also imagine the story as a donut. It's a circle. So where you start is where you should end. What you say in your first paragraph, you can always refer to in your final paragraph, so that it's a sort of circular storytelling motion. And that's really good because that allows the audience to feel as though everything's wrapped up quite nicely. Now, these techniques take a while to get, but the more you blog, the better you get at it. And the more the structure of how to tell a story will emerge. Whenever I advise somebody, how do you write your blog? Like Carmen said before, you've got to imagine who your audience is. Me personally, I imagine that I'm in the pub with that audience member and I'm telling them a story. It's a relaxed way to tell a story. So try to imagine who you're telling the story to and imagine yourself in a good setting that's going to allow you to tell the story well.
Great. So, is my mic on? Can everyone hear me? Good. Great. So just going on from that, so once you've created your blog and you're ready to publish it and get it up on your website, you need to think about your SEO. In particular, you need to research the keywords that you plan on using and implement them through the blog post so that your blog will rank on Google. When Google crawls your website and connects you with relevant search terms, what people are looking for, it will put your content up high on the search engine. So we mainly use a few tools, which I will share with you now. I know that for many, SEO is really a hard topic to get your head around. There's so much to know. It really doesn't end. And on top of all that, it's constantly changing. Google's algorithms change frequently. But if you stick to some key points, you will continue to make sure your website is optimized. So pick the keywords that are relevant to you. Make sure that is in your headline, your first paragraph, and also the URL of your blog link. Also put it into the meta description on the back end of your website when you are uploading your blog post. This is really easy to do on platforms such as WordPress. And make sure you have linked at least once, both internally and externally. What I mean by that is you've linked your blog post to a page within your own website, and also to another website that is a good website, as in a website that offers value to your reader, not a spammy website. And some of the tools that we use to help do this. So Ubersuggest is a great free tool from a marketing guru called Neil Patel, and he designed this tool himself, and it's free. All these tools are free. And you simply plug in keywords that you're thinking of using, and it will come up with more ideas. It will also show you how those keywords rank, how many shares other people have got from using those websites on social media, using those key terms on social media. So for example, the key term, I don't know, how to blog to gain more sales or something, that long tail keyword, it will show you where other bloggers have used that, and it's had 50,000 shares on Pinterest. Then you know you're on a good topic. That shows that people are interested in it. But you also want to choose keywords that don't have a lot of competition, because the higher the competition, the harder it will be to rank on Google. But anyway, I recommend you Google Ubersuggest and check out his tool, because it's very easy to use and it can really help you to nail down your keywords. Also, if you use WordPress, make use of the plugins that are on the back of the website. Yoast SEO plugin is a brilliant one to use. It's also free. You can also use a paid version, but up until recently, we used the free version and it was also great. And basically what it does is you specify the keyword you want to use once you've written your blog, and it will crawl through all your content and make sure it's optimized. And if it's not optimized, it will flag where you need to improve it. So for example, it might say, you haven't put the keyword in an alt description for your photo, or you have forgotten to put the keyword into your meta description. And basically it just flags it, and then you can quickly go through and pop it in where you need to. It also tells you if your sentences are too long, because Google doesn't like that. So free tool and brilliant to use. I recommend everyone downloads that plugin if you use WordPress. And finally, another great tool is Moz's Beginner Guide to SEO. If you have no idea about SEO, and you're really a beginner and you're struggling and you're not sure where to start with your blog, go and read this guide. It's a free ebook that you can download off their website. It takes about an hour to read, and it's great to make notes as you go through. But yeah, I recommend all our clients read that when they're first starting out with their blogs, because it's super helpful and it covers all the basics that you need to know when you're starting out with SEO. So we're running out of time quickly, so I'm just going to speed through the last few points. So once you've blogged, you need to share it on a social media platform. And I know a lot of our clients often feel really overwhelmed with social media, and yes, that's another topic you can talk about for days. But the key points to remember with social media is it's better to be on one or two platforms and engage with your audience on those platforms really well than to try and do all of them. Because if you try and do all of them, you just end up feeling swamped. You don't have time to put in the proper effort that they require, unless of course you've got your own marketing team within your business that you can offload the workload to. But in general, stick to one or two platforms. We like Facebook and LinkedIn because we've researched where our market is, and those are the two platforms they tend to use the most. So make sure you do that yourself. Research where your audience are and what platforms they use. For example, with our travel blog, we know that our readers are more likely to use Pinterest and Instagram, because travel really lends itself to visual photos and so forth. So we have quite a heavy presence on Pinterest and Instagram for our travel blog. So really determine where your audience is, what social media platforms they use, and tap into them. And also remember that the communications you use on the different platforms differ depending on the platform. So obviously for Instagram, it's all about imagery. For Twitter, it's all about short statistics, quotes, grabs. For Facebook, you can do long, in-depth posts that are text-heavy because people like to read a bit on Facebook. Also, Facebook Lives are really great for engagement. So just take the time to think about the platforms you're using, why you're using them, and how best to post on them in terms of what the platform likes and what they like to show to their audience. Right, so running out of time, but so just to summarize, I suppose, the key thing to remember about your blogging, aside from telling a story and so forth, all the things we've covered already, is to be consistent. Try to blog consistently, whether it be once a week, twice a week, once a month. Just get a plan and stick to it. We've got a free content calendar guide and Excel spreadsheet that you can download from the homepage of our website. And this will just help you to map out your ideas, your keywords, and have that all in place so that when you're ready to write your blog, you've got it all laid out in front of you and you can just get down to the writing. And if you spend just once a month brainstorming those topics for the next 4 weeks, or do it quarterly if you're only going to blog monthly, and just fill in that Excel spreadsheet, by the time it comes round to doing it, it's so much easier when you have that plan in place and when you know what dates the blog is going to be published. Because if you have a plan, you're much more likely to stick to it. And the thing with blogging is that you don't see results overnight. It does take time. Like with anything in business, you need to invest time and energy and you will start to see results, but you need to stay consistent with it. And also consider one way to grow your blog readership and also your email marketing list, which is vital. The two go hand in hand. Every time you blog, you want to be sharing it with your email subscribers. Is to give away free things. So that could be ebooks, it could be a short course, it could be a webinar like this, a white paper. It doesn't have to be substantial and take hours of your time to create, but just remember every time you blog, you need to be offering something of value. And if you can offer something for free that something tangible they can take with them and implement straight away into their of blogging. A bad example, which we made up ourselves because we don't want to defame anyone, and a good example on the same topic. So this is our bad example, which we carefully crafted about why, and we will point out why it's a bad blog, example of a bad blog. So firstly, the headline, check your business. It's very wishy-washy, doesn't get to the point. It's very vague. Someone scrolling through on social media won't really know what it is and they won't engage with it because they can't connect to check your business as a headline, and it doesn't say something specific. And then once you click on the blog, if you were so inclined to do so, which you probably wouldn't, this is what you would read. If you've ever wanted to examine your business, you really should. There are so many ways to examine your business. You need to, There are so many bad businesses, so you need to stop yours from being one. You should always analyze your business regularly. Take the time to look at your business from afar. Okay, once again, they've said something in 5 sentences that you really could say in 1, and even what they're saying still is so vague. What do you need to check about your business? What do you need to examine? They're not being specific. Are they talking about marketing? Are they talking about profit? Then they go on to say, one way I analyze my business is by running a SWOT check. Now, if you're new to marketing, you might have no idea what that is. So it will just go over the top of your head. This checks everything. It's all you need to check your business. Once again, the repetition, very vague. They're not getting to the point. Look at the good bits and the bad bits. Understand what's going on, and then you can work hard to make things better and run your business better. We sell so many great tools to help you analyze your business. You should buy this from us now. So this is just an example that we quickly shoved together of what you shouldn't do in your blog. Don't do a hard sell. Sure, you can give away a tool, but you need to be clear about what freebie you are giving away. You need to tell a story. There's no story in that. There's no personality in there. There's nothing. So let's just compare that to a good blog post. So this blog post was created by HubSpot on the same topic. So straight away the headline says, how to run a SWOT analysis for your business, template included. Straight away they're saying what this blog post is going to deliver. It's going to show you how to do a SWOT analysis, what it's for, your business, and the fact that they're giving away a free template. Great. That is going to make the business owner click. They want to learn more. First sentence, a SWOT analysis is a useful technique to evaluate a new project or objective your business faces or your business as a whole. Brilliant. In just one sentence, they've summarized exactly what a SWOT analysis is. Then they go on in the next paragraph. Essentially, a SWOT analysis is a roadmap for how you should move forward with your business, which opportunities you're missing out on, and which challenges you should tackle. They've delved a bit deeper, described more about what a SWOT analysis is and why you need it for your business. And the blog continues in the same regard, including the free template and checklist. And then as you can see towards the bottom, they're saying that not only have they described what a SWOT analysis is now and given you a template, but they have actually carried out SWOT analyses themselves on major brands such as Apple and Starbucks as examples, which you can take away and compare them to what you're doing in your own business. So not only do you know now what a SWOT analysis is, how to do one, you have a template to guide you, and you have examples to work from. So in just 5 paragraphs in this blog, they have offered so much value to the reader. And if that's something you're looking for, which they probably have researched that is something that their customers need, and they are a content marketing agency, so their customers probably are interested in this kind of content, they've ticked so many boxes in just 5 paragraphs. So that is just an example of a good blog versus a bad blog. And on that note, I think we'll finish and leave some time for questions if we have any time, John. Sorry, we ran over a little bit. And yeah, here are our details if you want to reach out to us and contact us. If you have any more questions that we don't have time to cover on this call, we'll be happy to help you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Thanks, guys. Fantastic. A lot of great content there. So the website, you haven't actually said what the website is, but we can get it from your email addresses.
Oh yeah, sorry, it's just redplatypuscreative.com, as you can see at the end of our email.
Yeah, .com, no .au. So that's fantastic. So anyone like to ask a question? I'll ask one while you're thinking of a question. One of the most common responses I get from business owners when I ask them if they're blogging or putting information out, doing content marketing basically, is one of the most common answers is, but I'm not a writer, I can't create this stuff. You know, it's all too hard. You know, what's your response to that?
If you can talk, you can write. Winston Churchill used to dictate his memoirs to a secretary while he lay in the bath. He never wrote anything. He just spoke it. So I think if you say you're not a writer, I don't think that's necessarily true. Perhaps people are intimidated by the process and they don't think that they'll be any good at it, but it's like anything. It's a muscle. The more you write, the better you get at it. We all know how to write. You know, we all did essays in school. Some of us enjoyed them more than others. I loved English. I was never any good at maths, but English was what I gravitated to. But I think if you can speak, you can write. And if you give it a go, you'll be surprised at how good you can actually get at it.
Or, sorry, can I just... Sorry. I was just going to say, if writing is not your thing, think about doing a blog from a different point of view, as in a different format. So think about video blogging. You probably talk to your customers daily on the phone or in person. Why not take what you would put down in words that you're struggling with and put it as a Facebook Live? It may not be a traditional blog, but why not have a YouTube blog where you release a video a week that's only 5 minutes long or even less, 3 to 5 minutes long?
That's a great idea.
And purpose that, repurpose content that you might put, other companies might put in a written blog and put it in a video format, because a lot of people also who may not like writing also don't like reading, and they are more visual people who would prefer to watch a video. So yeah, just there's more than one way to blog. It's not simply about writing.
Yeah, look, and I'd agree with you. I mean, that was a great presentation, by the way. Well done.
Thank you.
And one thing when I'm talking to business owners is I find a lot of people sort of, when they sit down to write, it's almost like they put a secret writer's hat on and they write like they think they should write like, and like what you're saying, the advice you're giving, you know, write like you talk, you know, just like that. Just get
avoid the jargon.
Yeah. Just get it down, and you can tweak and edit. It's not like you're publishing. Just get it out of your head onto paper.
Exactly.
Well done, guys.
Yeah. I noticed there was a very good blog by a lawyer, Brett Davies. He's done, I mean, law is quite boring to read sometimes, but he used to do quite a few blogs, quick video on the YouTube, and they were very good. A very good bit of advice, especially for us accountants who want to keep up to date with things. And he's done quite a few of those. I really enjoyed those type of blogs. So yeah,
absolutely. So yeah, he's obviously avoiding the jargon with his content, because that's the thing. Even if you might know your industry inside out, but the person, your audience member, may not, and so you want to do it in layman's terms. I mean, it goes back to basic journalism, really. As a journalist, people often ask, well, how do you cover so many topics? But the truth is, we're trying to write it in a way that the average Joe Blow can understand, because they're the person who's reading the content. So even though you might be interviewing a scientist who has extreme in-depth knowledge about a certain chromosome or something, you need to put that into terms that your audience understands, who may not have a scientific background. And the same thing goes for blogging. Really avoid the jargon at all costs, because not only will it often go over your audience's head, but often it's too complicated for them to comprehend. Yeah,
I like the video idea. I get a video email sort of blog once a week from a guy in the UK, but I always watch it because it only takes 2.5 minutes. I can get a cup of tea and sit and watch it. But the other thing is that a lot of people don't realize that with Microsoft Office these days and Word, you can do voice to text in a Word document. You can open a Word document and just talk. You know, as Dave was saying, you know, we all talk. And as Peter was saying, if you're talking, you tend to do it more naturally. And Word, it's pretty good if you practice a little bit with it and get to know some of the little punctuation things. You can actually get a lot of stuff down, and then you can come back and tidy it up. But at least it gets it out of your head and on paper.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to stop the recording now. I want to thank...
Hang on, one sec, John. There's a question from A. Taylor.
Ah, there is two, sorry.
Sorry.
So, for someone who hasn't blogged before, do you have advice to look how to start from a technical point of view? Carmen, you're the technical one.
Absolutely. There are some great resources out there. I think what I will do at the end of this call is create a page on our website, and John can send everyone the link where I will list the resources, the ones I talked about in the presentation, and also some other ones, because there's certainly, I was reading the other day, for people starting. Can I just get a poll? Most people blogging on WordPress. What is your platform? Yeah.
WordPress.
Yeah, so I did find a really great article about how to get started on WordPress if you're setting up the blog portion of your site. And I can also share that. Shopify, yep.
Okay.
I haven't really worked that much with Shopify, but I can see if I can find ways to set it up. I do know there is a way to do it. Yeah, so I will just create a resources page on the website and share that with everyone. I'll get John to pass that around to everyone. And also the presentation itself, if that's helpful for people, just in a PDF format to download.
Fantastic.
Great.
Thank you.
Any other questions before we go?
No, just let me wrap up and then I'll keep the meeting open, but I'll stop the recording. And if you want to stay on and chat, you can stay on and chat. I want to thank Dave and Carmen for putting this together and doing this for us today. I think that was fantastic. And we've all now got some great ideas we can take away and use in our business.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you, John.
That's great. Well done.
Wants to follow up with me, you can go to johndenton.com.au and you can find out everything that I do on there and contact me through there. If I don't already have your contact details,